So it seems like Capcom, for the most part, it doesn't seem like they have any big plans for the Mega Man series in the foreseeable future, at least not according to gaming websites or Capcom themselves. But obviously, Capcom has expressed, interest in possibly doing something cool with the Mega Man franchise sometime later down the line. And I think it's interesting that people would think that because last time we got a Mega Man game was back in 2018. And when I mean a Mega Man game, I'm talking about a brand new entry. I'm not talking about the legacy collection that we've gotten on multiple gaming platforms between 2015 and 2023, because obviously that's something that Capcom was pushing a lot during 2023. And, and I don't know, I feel like for the most part, it seems like the Mega Man series has become an afterthought. Now, I'm not saying that it's something that people really don't care about because obviously it is because I go on Reddit forums and I go on different forums in general, and it's the same thing. When is Capcom going to release another Mega Man game? And I don't think anyone knows the answer to that question other than Capcom. But Capcom has went on record and they've acknowledged that Mega Man is definitely one of their more important IPs, and they're looking ways to try and develop it further, and they're trying to look for a formula that works during this time in gaming because the landscape has changed a lot, and obviously the run and gun genre is not as popular as it was back in the day. But Mega Man 11 was like the best selling entry in the entire franchise, at least to my knowledge, since Mega Man 2. And Mega Man 2 came out back in the 80s. And I think Mega Man 11 came out back in 2018. So obviously, the Mega Man series is still a attraction. And honestly, like for the most part, it seemed like Mega Man in general has been something that appealed to a niche audience of gamers over the past like 2 decades or so because I don't remember Mega Man getting a lot of mainstream attention during the 2000s or even the teens. And I honestly find it interesting that, Capcom consider it, one of their more important IPs because while it's true that, Mega Man was one of their original, IPs from the 80s, they didn't really do much with it during the teens decade because in 2010 we got Mega Man 10 and a lot of people like that, and that was after a lot of people just they hated on Mega Man 9, and then we got Mega Man 11, and then we got Mega Man 10 and Mega Man 11 within the time span of 8 years. So during the teens decade, we didn't really get a lot of like new entries within the franchise, and understandably so because the Mega Man franchise is not drawing in as much revenue as the likes of Resident Evil or Monster Hunter or what have you, and I get Capcom is basically trying to do whatever they can to be more profitable and focus more on IPs that rake in a profit, and with that being said, I mean, I'm not exactly sure whether or not Mega Man is something that can really do that for Capcom, because the last time Mega Man was like had really, really good games in my opinion, or games that got like mainstream attention to some extent was like back in the 90s. I remember a lot of people saying they liked the Mega Man X series, especially the first Mega Man X game from 93. People liked the Mega Man X4 game from 97. And I would say after Mega Man X4 or X5, um, that particular series started to go off a cliff in terms of popularity, and I think Mega Man X8 was the last game within that particular series that we got, and that was like back in the mid 2000s, either in I want to say '03 or '04. But yeah, it doesn't seem like we're going to get a Mega Man X9 anytime soon or ever for that matter because maybe Capcom just abandoned the idea of doing that altogether. I remember the Mega Man Zero series being popular on Game Boy Advance, but at the same time, it's not something the Game Boy Advance wasn't something that a lot of people bought for Mega Man X Zero or Mega Man in general. You know, people bought Game Boy or Game Boy Advance during the 2000s decade for like Pokemon or Mario or what have you. You know, there was other IPs and stuff that was on the Game Boy Advance that people were far more interested in. And I feel like over time, I guess like the landscape of gaming has evolved to a point where people have different preferences. You know, it seemed like people are more into T-rated games, M-rated games, action adventure, RPGs, stuff like that. And I remember Capcom had a Mega Man spin-off RPG series, the Battle Network series, which um, a lot of people like, you know, for those who actually, you know, played any of them. They liked the Battle Network games, and I believe there was an anime based off of that. It was I believe it was called Mega Man NT Warrior, and it was something that was popular in Japan, but not so much in America. I had watched a couple of episodes of it, and honestly, it wasn't that bad. To me, it felt like the Mega Man version of Sonic X, which also came out back in like the 2000s. And and honestly, I don't know. I feel like the Mega Man series had more of a future back in the 2000s compared to the teens decade and compared to like the current time that we're in right now. And and yeah, I mean, I honestly feel like, you know, Mega Man in this day and age, it's not quite the same, but I do know that people would appreciate a brand new Mega Man game if Capcom just sticks to the basics and they just try to make a modern like version of that because I believe another developer or another publisher tried that with Mighty Number Nine back in 2016 and failed miserably. And then Capcom showed them how it was done with Mega Man 11. But the question is, if we ever got a Mega Man 12 game, would Capcom be able to top that game in terms of commercial success? Because I know, like a few years ago, it was reported that I believe like the director of the last Mega Man game had like left Capcom or something like that. So currently, like they don't have a director, at least not to my knowledge, and I think that's one of the reasons why we don't have a new Mega Man game or anything like that. And I kind of feel like that's a shame, but at the same time, a lot of people do not know what the future holds. I don't think Capcom's completely done with the series as of yet. I still feel like there's money to be made, and I'm pretty sure you know people wouldn't mind seeing a brand new like Mega Man anime or anything like that. Would it be popular in America? I don't know, but I do know that casuals who you know, grew up in like the 90s, the 2000s, or even the 80s, like they're familiar with the Mega Man series. And if a new game or a new anime was announced, it's something that would definitely turn heads. I'm almost certain that would trend on social media as well. So, yeah, I mean, you know, Mega Man is one of those IPs that has been around for decades. And it's something that Capcom obviously values, but I don't see a Mega Man game selling more than like a new Resident Evil game or anything like that. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm pretty sure that if Capcom decided to, you know, to greenlight a new like Mega Man game, they would definitely wait until the time is right, opposed to just putting out something that's just rushed or something that's half-hearted or something that doesn't capture the vibe of you know the older games that people were fond of. And yeah, with that being said, you know, I do feel that Capcom definitely cares about Mega Man. I'm not exactly sure whether or not the franchise will have the same level of appeal that it once had back in the 80s or the 90s or the 2000s, but I'm pretty sure that it's something that would definitely turn heads if a new game was announced. And I do feel that Capcom could definitely take, you know, and something that got popular in a different generation where a different genre was popular and they can definitely, you know, modernize it and make it something that would appeal to this current generation of gamers.